Today is, as I said to them, a day of remembering the past and of honoring the saints. And we will be lighting candles that will remind us of the light of Christ that's shone through each of these saints' lives and shown in our lives. And we'll also have the assurance when we light those candles that their light continues to shine in the family of God. Because the family of God is kind of like a constellation of stars, like the night sky. And I think this is a really appropriate image, because if we think back to the Old Testament, there's a story there about Abraham and Sarah, who are the forefather and foremother of God's family. And God makes a promise to them in their very old age that they will have a child, and that their family, from their child, there will be a huge family, and that their family will be blessed, and that they will be blessed to share that blessing with others. And one of the images that God uses to talk about their family is the night sky. God comes and speaks to Abraham, and God says, look at the sky and see the stars. Count those stars, if you can. Your family will be as numerous as the stars in the sky. That's our family, folks. The family of God. And that family stretches beyond this time and this place. And when we light these candles, we'll remember that these people who have died are still part of the family of God. Their light still shines in that night sky, just as our light shines there too. So part of today is looking into the past, but part of today is also being aware of the present and what it means to be followers of Jesus and to let our light shine as followers of Jesus. So I want us to think about that image for a second, and I want us to dwell on the children's song, This Little Light of Mine. Who knows this little light of mine? Right? Yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Right? That's how it starts. What do you think that means, to let your light shine? What does it mean?
Shine bright.
Shine bright? That's right. Shine bright, baby. How do we shine brightly? How do we let our light shine?
Spread God's love.
Say that again?
Spread God's love.
Spread God's love. She's on fire. How can we spread God's love? What do you think? By doing things for others? Absolutely. Feed the poor. Yep. Absolutely. What else? Maybe there's something that you're particularly good at, that you're passionate about. We have a little hand. Being nice, is that what you said? Yeah, being nice, being kind. Boy, we need that in our world, don't we? We most certainly do. That is one way we can definitely spread God's love and let our light shine. But I was also thinking that each of us has a particular gift. And one way that we can let our light shine is to share that gift with the world. But the song continues, This Little Light of Mine, right? And the second verse, as I know it, is, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine, right? Why would we hide our light under a bushel? Why would we do that? Well, Daniel talks about a couple of the reasons we might hide our light under a bushel. Daniel, in the Old Testament reading, has this fantastic vision, full of these kind of crazy, even scary images. In Daniel's vision, he sees beasts coming up out of the sea. Now, the sea that he's talking about represents the primordial sea, the sea before God created the waters, which the Spirit hovered over, and then after that, God created light and dark, night and day, land and the sea. And that sea represents sort of chaos and disorder and the opposing forces against God. And so these monsters that come up out of the sea, they're also from that sea, they're opposing forces. And what they represent are kingdoms or political powers that will oppress the people of God. And we still have that today, don't we? There are still people who are powerful, groups who are powerful, who use their power to oppress others. And that could be a reason why we might want to put our light under a bushel, because we're afraid to let it shine. Because those forces make us scared. And then there's the next verse. The next verse is, let's see, hide it under a bushel. Won't let anyone get out. I'm gonna let it shine. So we were talking about general forces of, we could say maybe evil, or forces that work against us, that make us afraid. But there's actually specific individuals that we're talking about here, or groups that want to come along and blow our light out. What's with that? Who are these extinguishers? Jesus talks about them in the gospel, doesn't Jesus? Because Jesus is full of wisdom. Jesus talks about these people. He talks about enemies, people who hate you, people who abuse you, people who are critical, people who are bullies, and he talks about defamers. That word, defamers. That means somebody who ruins your reputation out of spite. And why do these people want to extinguish our light? Well, I have an opinion. Surprise. And I think that sometimes these people are hiding something. They have a secret, or there's some kind of lie or deception in their life. And when we shine our light, the light exposes that secret, or that lie, or that deception. And that's why they want to extinguish our light, so that their secret doesn't get exposed. So what are we to do with these people who want to extinguish our light? Do we fight against them? Do we return fire with fire? That's not what Jesus says, is it? Jesus says, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for those who abuse you. And if somebody who wishes to do you harm, if they wish to strike you on the cheek, turn the other, offer the other cheek. And give to those who would do ill to you. That's tough advice. Love your enemies. Love them. Jesus is not, I think, here asking us to sort of lay down and play dead, or be put ourselves in danger. That's not what Jesus wants here. Jesus is asking us to practice a radical kind of vulnerability with our enemies, to show them God's love. And I was thinking about people who have done this in the past, saints who have shown this radical love towards their enemies. And then I was thinking of people who've done this, who are doing this now today, and I thought of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. So does anybody know what the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, who they are? They're in the news. Does anybody know the story? No. So Standing Rock Sioux tribe, I want to say it's North Dakota. It might be South Dakota. South Dakota says Rosie.
North.
It's North, okay. North. All right, so in North Dakota, this is where the Standing Rock Sioux tribe called home. And there's a company, big oil company, that wants to build a pipe right through where they live. Right through where they get their water. And right through land that they consider very sacred. And they have taken it to court, and the court denied their claim. But they are still resisting those who want to build this pipeline. And the way that they are resisting is that they're gathering around this river and protesting, putting their bodies in the way of those who want to build this pipeline. And the chairman of the tribe, his name is Dave, I'm going to guess how to say this, Archambault. I think that's how you say it. And he talks about this resistance that they're using. He says, what we're doing right now is we're asking everybody to remain prayerful and peaceful, and not to react to any form of aggression that law enforcement might bring. Because there's been some criticism of the way in which the law enforcement has used a lot of force. We don't want to see the construction workers get hurt, he says. We don't want to see the law enforcement get hurt, he says. And we definitely don't want to see people who are standing up to protect water get hurt. How does he resist? Prayerfully, peacefully. Why does Jesus ask us to do this? Because this is the hard way, isn't it? The risky way to resist in this manner. Why would Jesus ask us to resist in a way that could even put us in danger? I think it has to do with this last verse. Little light of mine. We're back. The last verse. Shine all over all the world. I'm gonna let it shine. All the world needs the light of Christ. Even our enemies, folks. Even those who would do us harm. They need the light of Christ too. And that's why Jesus asks us to love our enemies, to pray for them, to do good to them, and to give to them. Because by doing those things, we are showing them the light of Christ, the love of God. And how do we find the strength to do this, the compassion to do this? Because we're sinners, right? That's why we were baptized. We have weaknesses. We have fears. We have flaws. So where do we find the strength and compassion to do this kind of courageous, risk-taking behavior? Let's look at Paul again from Ephesians. Paul says this, I pray that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation as you come to know him, so that with the eyes of your heart enlightened, you may know what's the hope to which he has called you. What are the riches of his glorious inheritance among the saints? And what is the immeasurable greatness of his power for us who believe, according to the working of his great power? We are given riches and power from God to do this work. And those riches and power, they are new life and community, strength through community. That's what gives us the courage. Our brothers and sisters, our fellow saints. And Dave, remember the chairman of Standing Rock Sioux Tribe? He talks about this. He was speaking with a reporter, and the reporter asked him how he felt about how he was receiving support, and whether it surprised him how he was receiving support and his tribe. He says, you know what, I didn't expect that. We have support from around the world. We have support from over 24 cities, major cities. We have support from indigenous peoples in other countries. I can't tell you how much I appreciate people willing to stand beside us as we go up against federal government, state government, large oil industry companies. We have no power. But the only thing that we have is support from around the world. That's us, folks. We have no power. But we have the community of the saints. And in the community of the saints is the light of Christ. And that, my friends, is a strong, strong power. A power for good. Now tonight, we're going to have this prayer walk. And we're going to walk around the community in Quakertown, and we're going to celebrate community and the strength of community. And we're going to visit various places that serve the community, the hospital, police station, food bank. And we're going to thank God for those places and the way they serve our community. And then at the very end of the walk, we're going to have a prayer vigil. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to light candles. And when we light those candles, I will think of our worship here today and of how each of those candles represents the small part of the constellation of God's family of which we are a part. And how the light of Christ shines in each of us and in all of the saints who have come before us and who will come after us. And that in that community, we find the strength and the power to do good in the world. Amen.